Well, I'm delighted to be joined today by the man himself. Where do I start by introducing him, man? You're like a WWE vet, one third of the New Day, one of the greatest stables going, the genesis of Kofi Mania. Kofi Kingston, how are you, man?
Oh, fantastic. I got a lot of accolades, man. I got a lot of accolades, a lot of AKAs. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. Still doing the work from home gig. Getting used to this setup right now, man. Zoom is like
Right.
my life.
Yeah, right. You and the rest of us, man. It's
Yeah.
some wild and crazy times for sure.
I mean, one of the reasons, obviously, we've come together today is because of the NSPCC, and that would be the National Prevention of Cruelty to Children. And of course, in these times of lockdown of a lot of states and counties here in England, a lot of pressure on families, and being close knit, you can't escape and whatnot. So it's worth talking about, guys like ourselves too, who are father. I believe you're a father of two boys. I'm a father of
That's
two
right.
girls.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's it, man. We're the other sides of the coin. So yeah, how has that been for you, man? Since all of this has kicked off, because of course, compared to your usual schedule, it's like night and day almost, right?
It is legitimately night and day. I have never spent this much time with my family. Even before I had kids, I was never home this much. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
uh, just to like find the silver lining in these uncertain times for me in particular, it has been pretty great, to be able to spend so much quality and quantity time with my family. My kids love it. Normally when I get home from being on the road, the first thing that my oldest son asks is like, "Daddy, how many sleeps are you going to be here for?" I say,
yeah,
"Oh, 3 sleeps, 5 sleeps." And now it's like 15 sleeps. Oh, 23 sleeps. He's just like, you can see like the happiness in his face. Like he just
yeah.
loses his mind. He's like, "Yeah, what?" So it's been great for me. It's been awesome just to spend this time with my family. I feel like a normal parent. Seeing
Yeah.
my kids every night. So yeah, it's been pretty amazing so far for the most part.
How's like the dynamic at home, right? Because you come, I know, coming home, you ruin routines a little bit, right? Now dad is kind of working his way into areas that mum normally dominates. So how's that been? How's that in your household?
It's definitely been a little bit of an adjustment for sure. Even like putting the dishes and stuff away. Like I don't know where the pots and pans go. I don't know where the strainer goes. So I've had to kind of learn just like ins and outs of the house. So it's been kind of fun in that sense. Definitely. Yeah, like a routine adjustment for sure for my family, but I'm glad they're willing to make the adjustment for me. So it's definitely been an adjustment for sure. But it's also been kind of a look into like the future after I'm all done with wrestling and I'm home. I'm like, okay, like they can actually tolerate me. These guys, they actually like me, so that's a good thing. It's just like a little preview. So yeah, it's been a little bit of an adjustment.
I mean, for me, to my girls are well, one of them turns 4 on Saturday, and the other one turns 2 in June. So they're kind of at that age, like the 2-year-old especially wants to get into everything, wants to get out and about, and especially the 4-year-old. She's like, "Why can't we go to the park?" And I'm like, "The park is sick." Like, I don't know what else to tell her, right? So I'm like, "The park's ill." Um, what have you been doing to pass the time, I guess, during lockdown with the kids? Are you watching stuff? Trolls has been a revelation for me.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, that's some good music from Justin Timberlake. I won't have anyone disparage that. Um, but
JT,
yeah,
yeah.
man, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so luckily, so for us, we actually don't have our kids really use screens on cell phones or really watch much TV. We have one TV in the house, which is upstairs. We rarely turn it on. We definitely don't watch it while they're awake. So
Yeah.
it's been a little bit of a challenge, but we're lucky. So we live in Texas, and we have a lot of like green space here. So this is one of the reasons that we chose this house, moving from California where everyone is like sardines and we barely had a yard for the kids
Mm.
to play. And we're like, oh no, we need some green. So we moved to Austin, Texas, and we have a pretty big yard with a lot of green. So we have them just kind of go out in the yard and play. And then there's also a lot of like lakes and national parks and state parks around here. And it's a place where you can still kind of maintain the social distancing standard but at the
Yeah.
same time, like be outside and be in the woods and be in the forest, and my kids are climbing on the trees and running around and all that. So that really helps us, for sure, to be able to just go out and have them kind of expend that energy that they need to expend, for sure. But then also indoors, it's been awesome. I've taught my sons how to play checkers, and we're working on chess. And my son actually beat me in chess the other day, and I'm, like, it's not like, I wasn't like trying my hardest, but I wasn't not trying. So I'm like, oh, like checkmate. And I'm like, I can't. Wow, he beat me, So it's been cool to do that kind of things. We've been playing a lot more like cards and stuff like that. He is really, really good at memory, like legitimately giving me a run for my money, oftentimes beating me. I'm just like, oh, okay, you've got a really good memory. So just learning all these different things about your kids by playing games and just keeping them entertained. It's really been, it's been a fun experience for me. It's been a really, really fun experience so far.
Like for us, when the weather last week was like totally different, it was scorching. So I was able to take the kids to like feed the ducks. Like, we've got some areas too where you can get out and about and just kind of walk the fields. Right? But your sons, they're a little bit older than my kids. Have they got the wrestling bug yet? Are they like during this downtime? Are they watching more stuff on like the network? And when they do, is it you? Do they just go look for you, or is it they got other things they want to look at?
Well, yeah, man, like I said, dude, we don't. So the only time that my kids actually even get to see wrestling is when they come to a live show. We don't watch
For real?
any TV at home. We don't watch,
Wow.
we're not, it's crazy, man. But that's the standard that we've set. And I feel like if we start putting stuff on now, then we're not going to be able to go back when the time's going to be normal, So we're just trying so hard, like not to have really any screens involved like that. But it's great, though, that the network is available, and especially that it is such a vast library where you can watch, stuff from the past. You can watch stuff from the recent past, more current things, and it's more diverse now than ever. So for those people who are fortunate enough to have the screens and Netflix and everything in their house, it's definitely a great resource that they can go and really see everything that they like, and hopefully if they're smart, they're watching a lot of Kofi Kingston and New Day matches, you know what I mean, and entertaining themselves.
Man, no wonder they got the wrestling bug. They're going to get these little snippets. They're like, they got like Brock Lesnar appearances.
Yeah. Hey, you said it, not me.
Actually, that leads me on to a night's wrestling chat, because I was in Houston, right, for the Royal Rumble, and I was in the crowd, and one thing I wanted to talk about, I spoke to Drew McIntyre about this, and he was telling me how Brock Lesnar actually had a big hand in how he laid out his part of the Rumble match and all these things. Yeah. And I thought one awesome part of that was obviously you guys, right? You, Big E, Ray. I was in the crowd. Everyone was buying it. You all gave him your finish, and it was like, oh my God, Kofi's going to get that moment back. Like, everyone was like hook, line, and sinker. Ultimately, of course, the beast remained. But man, talk me through that. Would it be fair to say then that Brock was like central to putting that together, and you collaborated? How did it work?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people don't understand. You see Brock Lesnar on TV, and you obviously see the beast. You see a man who is physically daunting, physically dominating, but he has an awesome mind for the business, and I feel like he will never get that credit that he deserves for that. Someone doesn't get to be in WWE for decades, without having a great mind. And I know a lot of times you see Paul Heyman being the mouthpiece, and you think that Brock has a very small part in that role, but he has a very big part. He actually does, like I said, have a very, very intelligent wrestling mind, understands what business is, you know what I mean, in terms of building stuff. If Brock and I had more of a match at the debut of SmackDown on Fox, then the moment at the Rumble people wouldn't have gotten up as much as they did for it, So it was great. It was a really great piece of the story for sure, having myself in there, and then, trying to fight. And now here comes my partner, and now here comes Ray, who had history with Brock and his son, you know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of like great, I'm getting like goosebumps even like talking about that. That's great. But it was a lot of just great storytelling coming together, everything happens, everything is important, as minuscule as it may be. And I think that was definitely like a big part of the Rumble, you know, seeing me and Ray and E and all of us on the outside just kind of banding together, you know, and going in there and doing what we did. It was great. And then on top of that, you know, the whole first half of the Rumble, Brock was the one who was throwing everybody out, only for Drew McIntyre to beat him at the end, you know, and throw him out. So if, you know, it wasn't built like that, it wouldn't have meant as much for Drew. So you think about like, okay, why did that happen? Oh, Brock did this to make, you know, to elevate Drew, you know, to give him credibility as a champion. Now, you know, Drew beats Brock at WrestleMania. And now, you know what I'm saying? Like the pieces of the story were told in the right way for Drew to be considered a credible champion, a believable champion, someone who had to earn it, you know, by beating the beast who has beat so many people before, you know? So it's all about storytelling, man. It's all about storytelling. That's like the greatest part of our business, to be able to tell that story. And like I said, I think Brock, despite the credit that he gets, is very good at telling that story.
Yeah, and I think you know, you must have been thrilled anyway that he wanted to show, you know, have that with you there, right?
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I thought that obviously the way that things ended for my title reign, you know, and people say 5 seconds, it was 8. Okay, don't shortchange me. Don't shortchange me on my time. That's almost double of what people say. But yeah, it was good to like just kind of revisit the story, because I think, you know, one of the things that we don't have control over is the way that things are laid out on the show. Like I can fight for what I want to have happen. I can pitch for what I want to have happen. But at the end of the day, it's not up to me. You know, it's up to me to go out and deliver the, you know, the request that I'm given. You know, that's my job. So I would have written the end of my title reign a little bit differently. But unfortunately, if we all had control over how we wrote ourselves into the show, then everybody would be champion like all the time. I would have been 100-time champion, you know, by now, if that was the case. But yeah, I was glad to just get even just a slice of like retribution, you know, in that Rumble for sure. So yeah, that it just kind of is what it is, and you work with what you got. You tell great stories when you can tell great stories when you have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Just to wrap up here, then I know we've only got a minute or so, but I just wanted to touch on the WrestleMania ladder match, because for a lot of people's money, that was a show stealer. You know, you guys did great. Just talking about how like the change was, because obviously Big E had to miss out on his Mania moment because of that kind of thing. He had a great moment, obviously winning the tag titles, you know, and hilarious promo that he did after and that. But talk to us about, you know, the conflicting emotions. I guess you must have been delighted that you delivered like you did, but at the same time, you know, Big E kind of has to sit that one out.
Yeah, it is. It was kind of strange. Number one, because Woods is injured, so he wasn't there. He had to sit out, you know, because of the circumstances. Then he wasn't there. But at the same time, like it was kind of similar to last year in a way, because even though, like I said, that like I won the WWE Championship, it was really all of us that won, because without Woods and without E, I wouldn't have been where I was. So they weren't there in the physical, but they were still definitely there in my mind, you know, because that was all a piece of the story, you know. So yeah, you always want to be involved on WrestleMania, and no matter what capacity it's being presented, you always want to be on the show. So again, it is a thing that we have no control over, right? This is the match that we're going to have to lay out, and the match we're going to have to do. And you work your hardest to go out there and deliver. So yeah, definitely kind of bittersweet. But you know, like he ended up winning the championships for us the next week or 2 weeks later, whatever it was. And now here we are, you know, as your 8-time WWE World Tag Team Champion. So it's all good, you know. It's definitely all good. I think that we take a lot of pride in being able to provide people with a sense of escape, you know. And in these times, like where everything is like so uncertain, we don't know like where things are going to go. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know really anything, you know. So there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear out there. But being a WWE superstar, being able to go out and provide that sense of escapism, to go out and have a WrestleMania, you know, and allow people to forget about all these woes is, it definitely is an amazing thing, and it's an amazing feeling. And we definitely all take a lot of pride in being those people that are able to provide that level of escape for so many people all over the world. So that's the big picture, you know? So that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. And you guys have been doing it so well for so long, man. Grateful for you. Wish nothing but the best for you during this time, man. Hope you and the family keep busy without them screens, and you take care of yourself.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you. And I also want to give a special shout out to the NSPCC for, you know, the reason that we're doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's such a great cause, you know, and it's one of the biggest sponsorships and partnerships that we have with WWE. And it's something that we take a lot of pride in. So with like Childline, having the line that where people can, you know, kids can call when they have problems going on at home at any given time. And especially in these times, they have a place that they can go, you know, it's pretty awesome. And then also more important now, like we were talking about how, you know, I told you how amazing it's been for me as a parent to be spending all this time with my kids. For a lot of parents, it's like, it's hard, you know, because it's something different. We've been forced into this homeschooling, you know, territory that we never intended to be in. You know, a lot of people didn't intend to be homeschoolers, but yet here we are. So, you know, you go to the NSPCC's website and they have a lot of different tips that parents can also have and helping them, you know what I'm saying, to get through the times, you know what I'm saying? So it's one, I'm actually really, really proud, you know, when they came to me about doing these interviews and promoting the awareness, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. You know, this is awesome. So just wanted to put that information out there for people who might be kind of struggling their way through these times and they don't know really what to do. There is a place that you can go if you go to that website. And there's a lot of just different tips that can help you get through these arduous times right now. So yeah, definitely proud to be a part of that. And like I said, big picture, putting smiles on people's faces is what it's all about.
Yeah, 100%. Us at TalkSport, of course, echo everything you just said there, Kofi. There'll be details of all of that in the article that comes with this interview. And of course, when we play it on the radio as well, this Sunday on Talk Wrestling, we'll provide information as well for all of you that may need or just want to know more about this great cause. So once again, Kofi, man, thank you very much for your time. Always a pleasure for me.
Right on, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.